With this being Intersex Awareness Day, this is the perfect time to look at the confirmed and suspected hermaphrodites in gaming. For those unaware, a hermaphrodite is an organism containing both male and female parts. This phenomenon does occur in humans, but it is more common for humans to be pseudo-hermaphrodites, or to have one sex but have an androgynous appearance, or the appearance of the opposite sex. For example, a lean male having large breasts and an easier time lactating is one pseudo-hermaphroditic condition, though experiencing that does not necessarily mean you are a hermaphrodite. Also note, this does not include sex changes or transgenderism, despite what certain people insist. It is a scientific term and refers exclusively to biological physical sex, not anything in the psyche. Birdo's a hermaphrodite? The manual when localized in English stated Birdo was a male who believed he was a girl. But NES localizations are notoriously not even close to canon, mostly for disturbing reasons such as all the bricks, blocks, and items in Super Mario Bros. Actually being toads, or that Bowser is the Master Dark Sorcerer, or Big Boss is Cat Taffy, which sounds like an 80s brand of taffy. I think we can disregard these early manual localizations, but let's assume more or less this is accurate to Nintendo's intentions. If Birdo was a hermaphrodite, it most likely would suffer gender confusion, and likely others, such as localizers, would struggle to give it a gender. However, there are reasons Birdo truly cannot be male. For example, that it produces eggs. Full males do not produce eggs, however females and true hermaphrodites usually do. Not to mention in Captain Rainbow it had the, which usually goes in the, implying Birdo has a, the very least potentially a combination of a, and a, like many hermaphrodites. There, now this didn't turn into a sex talk for any young children watching. Unlike fellow dinosaur Birdo, there's been little confusion of the Yoshi species being hermaphrodites. After all Yoshis are capable of laying eggs, and we know these eggs are used for reproduction in some instances. Given the sheer number of Yoshis we've seen, we can safely conclude all Yoshis have male and female parts, and given how Yoshis produce eggs, these organs are likely in the mouth, and Yoshis reproduce through oral sex. Okay, not the strangest way of reproducing. Depending on Starfy's species, he also could join the hermaphrodite ranks. A number of starfish species are actually hermaphrodites, and some of them resemble Starfy and his family more than some two-sex species of starfish. Sure, Starfy is called a prince, but in a hermaphrodite culture, what gender terms might they use? It may just be tradition. Besides, if you were to anthropomorphize a hermaphrodite species, they would undoubtedly have a range of personalities and appearances we would label masculine or feminine. But gender is just an illusion. For this only possible reason, Starfy isn't any higher. The debate over Sheik's gender may never end. The story according to the developers and designers is that once Ganondorf took control, Zelda used magic to turn herself into a boy. She even goes so far as to change her eye color. At a DNA level, she has changed her gender. Her abilities such as strength and agility change with the transformation, and her body shape becomes less feminine. Her hips narrow, and her shoulders broaden, as well as her muscles toning. So Zelda is female and Sheik is male, right? Maybe. We know it is far more than just a costume, but the opposition brings up one pretty major problem with Sheik being male. Sheik has no pants bulge. If Zelda used magic to add a Y chromosome to her DNA, it would result in her becoming a hermaphrodite and having less to hide, while having a more masculine build than a woman. Perhaps this is the case and Zelda passes herself as a boy rather than a hermaphrodite. If Sheik is male, it still doesn't change he is the same person as Zelda, Which, how would you classify yourself if you lived in two different bodies with different sexes? I'd imagine it would be confusing. So the gender-ambiguous priest from Fire Emblem Awakening. Officially he claims to be male, but the game really paints him as a female in more than appearance alone. Many of his endings describe him as being seen and treated as a mother when he marries. If he doesn't marry, he's at least bisexual, as men and women both court him. In this unmarried ending, it also hints that he is the reincarnation of Naga, a sexless godlike entity in the Fire Emblem series. Libra is really feminine. It poses a slight problem since Libra can't have children. Fertile true hermaphrodites are rare. Many pseudo-hermaphrodites are fertile for one sex, however. Perhaps Libra is a pseudo-hermaphrodite, or given the time travel, perhaps Libra is always a hermaphrodite, but in what respect changes in every possible outcome. Or if Libra is Naga, there is divine conception, or the ability to change sex, or to exist without a definite sex. Every once in a while, something this major and game-changing is overlooked and slips by. It is my job to dig it up and expose the secret lying beneath the surface, and in the process change everything your childhood is built on. And I think there was an unintentional pun there. The secret is that Earthworm Jim should perhaps be Earthworm Jamie, because he is not male or female. He is a hermaphrodite, and proof lies right in your backyard and in textbooks. Unless you're a scientist, I'd recommend the textbooks. Earthworm Jim, as its name conveys, is an earthworm. One interesting fact about earthworms are that they are hermaphrodites. While Jamie may have chosen to embrace his masculine side and live as Jim, at his core he is neither male or female. His DNA just doesn't allow binary sexes. So Jamie joins this list unless they've lied about his species, and why would they? However, looking at him, he certainly looks like an earthworm, being pink and all. The localizers for Final Fight changed Poison's background to include a sex change because they thought Americans would find it unacceptable to hit women, but hitting transsexuals is fine. Which, that is just a ridiculous idea. There is nothing wrong with hitting a woman for no reason. The problem is with hitting anyone for no reason. Male, female, whatever race. Women aren't special. In this case, there is a reason to hit Poison. You know, because she's fighting you? I wouldn't blame someone hitting a child if the child was putting them in mortal danger. Granted, the child being able to do so would be unlikely, but in the hypothetical situation. Capcom has expressed no opinion on whether Poison is female or a transsexual. But let's assume Poison was born a man for a second. Look closely at Poison's body. That frame did not belong to a man. You can't do that with surgery. That is just not a thing that can be done without looking like Frankenstein's monster. Happy Halloween! However, Hermaphrodite could conceivably have such a frame, and sometimes hermaphrodites do have surgery to formally select their chosen sex. If Poison is a hermaphrodite, it would certainly explain a lot. In Mother 3, there are 7 characters of intentionally ambiguous sex called the Gypsies. They are characterized as both extremely masculine and extremely feminine, for that intense contrast and ironic humor that the Mother series is built on. It is heavily hinted they are not even quite human, and perhaps may be the origin of PSI. But what is clear is in appearance and action, they are neither quite male or female. While they may be 7, they all will take number 3. Didn't expect Kirby, everyone's favorite pink puff, to make the list, did you? In Japan, as far as Sakurai is concerned, Kirby has no sex. In Japan, they have been very careful to never refer to Kirby with gender pronouns, and in Japan, Kirby is a gender-neutral name. In localization to America, there have been a number of masculine pronouns added to the games and manuals, but in beatboxing. But in Japan, it is still understood Kirby's gender is undetermined or ambiguous. It makes sense. Kirby doesn't appear to be a creature with binary sexes. Kirby's a ball with legs. It also isn't odd his sex would be lost in translation since English doesn't have a good gender-neutral pronoun. Who else could really be number one? When you think about it, no character is as perfect a hermaphrodite as Ditto, and it can clearly breed as a male and as a female. So each Ditto contains male and female reproductive organs. Ditto isn't even restricted to the same animal kingdom. It can breed with animals, plants, and even fungi. It actually isn't even restricted to living things. It can reproduce with ghosts, and single-handedly bring back extinct creatures. Ditto is the absolute perfect number one hermaphrodite in gaming. There's almost nothing it can't breed with. So do you know or suspect any other characters are not quite male or female? Either way, be watching and see exactly how diverse video games actually are. Through the level to get story.
It's not a Wii.
Then return